Hello and welcome. This is the next Edexcel D1 topic video. This is on the bubble algorithm and the quick sort algorithm. Now they're very easy. Well, the answer's easy. The method is a little bit tricky. As I said, the key with this topic is to just obviously you can come up with your own what you want to put through the quick sort and the bubble algorithm, but obviously the end answer is very easy to work out. You could work it out without this algorithm. Okay, so quite clearly in the exam all they're looking for is the method, because anyone could come up with the answer. And the typical question is something like using the quick sort or bubble algorithm, put these numbers in ascending order. Now you or I could quite easily do 11, 15, 18, 24, 30, 37, okay? You can quite easily do that. But, obviously this is D1, this is A-level maths, so there's going to be a bit of trickery involved. Now, with that, with the algorithms we've looked at so far, they've all been about following methods, following instructions, and this does the same thing, okay? Except the instruction for this, they don't tell you, obviously, in the exam, otherwise they'd be telling you how to answer the question. And that kind of defies the point of doing it. Okay. Right. So what you would do in this is you would compare adjacent numbers. Okay. So basically, we've got a couple of rows to go through. So you compare. If it's in descending order, that quite clearly, from anyone's perspective, means we are increasing, going from smaller to larger. That's basic. You should obviously all be able to figure that out. Okay. So what we do is we compare the first two numbers. Okay. So it's 24. Bigger than 18, well, quite clearly it is. So we write 18 first. Okay, now what I'm going to do in red pen is obviously how you would think about it. Okay, so you would write. Sorry, actually, no. I'm going to write in black pen the next stage that you would write. Okay, and in red pen above it, I'm going to be what should be in your head. Okay, as well while you're doing this, because I could show you on a computer, but it'd be quite a nightmare. Okay, so. Alright, so we compare 18 and 24, and that's good, okay? So basically, through the first step, we should have the biggest number at the end. So we should have 37 at the end, okay, in the first one, because we're going to work backwards. So we're going to have the biggest number there, second biggest number, third biggest number, fourth biggest number, etc. as we go through the steps. And obviously that should lead us to it being in ascending order. Okay, so we compare 24 and 18 now. 24 is clearly bigger than 18, so ideally we would write 24 here. Okay, but just before we input 24 into this place, we need to compare these two numbers, okay? So, obviously we're not comparing 18 and 37 because we've moved 24 and 18 around. We're now comparing 24 and 37, which is bigger. Well, obviously 37 is bigger, so we'll leave 24 where it is. But before we write 37, we're now going to compare 37 and 11. Okay, now quite clearly 11 is smaller than 37, sorry. So we write 11 there. Okay, and then we compare 37 because we imagine 37 to be here. So we compare 37 with 15. Now quite clearly 37 is bigger than 15, so we now write in 15. Okay, and we compare, because now here we want to write 37. We compare 37 to 30. Quite clearly 37 is bigger, so we write 30 and 37. Okay, so that's the first run through. Okay, so we'll call that the first line 1. Now what we've done there is we've gone in the first step to making this in ascending order. However, it's quite clearly not in order. It's not in ascending order. Obviously we've got this, the smaller numbers over this end, and we've got the biggest number here, but it's not sorted completely because unless you can't count, it doesn't go 18, 24, 11, 15, 30. Okay, obviously there's a bit of thingy. All right, so we need to do this run through again. Okay, so because we've moved 37 to the end here. We need to do this again, but we're going to pick 18. We're going to start through and use 18. We're going to always be using the smallest number. Okay, we're going to be starting from the start of this, weirdly enough. Okay, so we're comparing 18 and 24. Okay, so which is bigger? Well, clearly 24. Okay, so 18 and 24 don't change. Oh, 18 and 20, well, 18 doesn't change, sorry. And then we need to compare 24 and 11. Okay, so which is bigger out of them two? Well, 11, sorry, 24. So we move 11 over here. Okay, so obviously we're going to need to do this again at some point, but you get the idea, okay? So then, ideally, we want to write 24 here, but as I said, we need to compare it to the next one. So we need to compare 24 and 15. Even though there's 11 here, we're going to replace that with, we want to replace that with 24. Okay, so we compare 24 and 15. Well, quite clearly, 15 is smaller than 24, so we write 15 there. Now, don't get mixed, even though, don't start jumping ahead and go, well, 18 is bigger than 11, so we move it over here. Well, that'd be correct. However, obviously, that would start getting into other rows down here that we need to finish this line off first. Okay, so this is line 2. Then, obviously, what we want to do now is write 24 here. And we need to compare 24 and 30. Okay, well, clearly 30 is bigger, so we'll leave it where it is. And there's no need to compare 30 and 37 because we did that previously. Okay, then we move on to our line 3. Move using this idea now. Okay, so seeing as we're not really using this anymore, we're using this line. Okay, so now with the first ones we compare, obviously 18 and 11. Well, clearly 11 is smaller than 18, so we write 11 first. And obviously this would be the opposite if we were looking at the descending order. Alright, so ideally now we want to write 18 here, but we need to compare 18 to the next number in the previous line. Okay, so we compare 18, which used to be in the spot, which used to be, it is now in the spot of where 11 used to be, to 15. Okay, well quite clearly 15 is smaller, so we move the 18 and the 15 around. However, preliminary, put the 18 up here. And we need to compare 18, which is now where 15 was, to 24. Okay, well quite clearly 24 is bigger. Okay, so we leave 18 where it is. Okay, and obviously we compare 24 and 30, and therefore we've also compared 37. So that is your end answer. Alright, so that's how we've got to it. Basically, in essence, you start always with the first term, okay, the first number. In whatever order it's given, that's the order you start from. You compare the first two numbers, and then when that, because it's a bubble, because we've been drawing these bubbles around all the numbers, okay? So you compare the first two numbers, and then if one's bigger than the other, you switch it round, okay? And then that number that you've switched round, which you want to put in the second place, you compare that to the third place. And if it is bigger or smaller, or whatever it requires you to do, you judge, well, do we swap it or not? And if you do swap it, you carry that number above and compare the number you now want to put in that spot to the number next to it, okay, and see if that's bigger, and if it is, you swap them and continue. And it's just line after line of doing that, okay? So, really, as I said, the art of this is through practice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to quickly rub off that example, and then obviously we're going to come back and I'll put some questions on the board and you can have a go at going through them as well. So, what I want you to do is just have a go at sorting out that array of numbers, set of numbers, into ascending order using our known method that we've just worked out of the, I could say it, I've got the name of it again, jeez, the bubble algorithm. Okay, so have a go at rearranging them numbers into this using the bubble algorithm. Okay, I don't know if the focus has been slightly off there. Okay, so have a go at that, and what I'm going to do is I've split the board up into obviously two halves, just because I'm that talented and can do things like that, and that's purely because I want to show you something called if I can remember what it's called, the quick sort method. Okay, basically what we're going to look at in there, sorry if the focus goes a little bit funny, just trying to alter the focus. Okay, that should do it. What I'm going to do is just obviously do the normal method that we would use, and on the right we're going to look at something called the quick method, okay, which is quick, but it's a lot more challenging. Okay, so using the same idea that we did before, okay, of comparing the two numbers in, next to each other. Okay, so the first numbers we're going to compare 22 and 24. Okay, well obviously they are in order, so that's fine. We just simply write down 21, 24. By the way, this is assuming if you are answering this question as using the bubble method, you would normally just write down the whole list of numbers first. Okay, so now we've got, as I said, we've organised the first two numbers, 21 and 24. Now we're going to look at 24 and 42. Do they need rearranging? Just make sure I am doing it in ascending order here. Do apologise. Yep. Okay, so obviously they don't need rearranging. So we ideally want to write 42 here. So we put 42 up. But now we need to compare 42 and 29. Now quite clearly 42 is bigger than 29, so we need to move the 29 to where 42 is. Okay, so 29. So we don't want to write 42 there. We want to write 42 in the next one, potentially. Okay, so you would write 42 above that. But because 42 is now where 29 was, we need to compare where 29 was to the next one. Okay, so we need to compare 42, 23. Now quite clearly, 23 is smaller than 42. So we write 23 there. Now we need to compare where 23 was, because that's where our new 40, we need to compare where 23 was and compare that to the next one, because that's where 14 would be. Okay, so with 14, 13, 42 and 13, sorry. So obviously 13 is smaller, so we'll write it there. And we ideally now move the 42 along, because we want to write 42 in the next one. Okay, and we compare where 13 was, because that's where we now 42 is, to the next one. Okay, so we compare 13 and 8, and quite clearly 8 is smaller. Sorry, we compare 42 and 8, and quite clearly 8 is small, so we write 8 there. And ideally, we now want to write 42 in the next one. But we're comparing 42, okay, to the number next to 8, which is obviously 39. Okay, and quite clearly 39 is smaller, so we move it over here. Okay, and we do the exact same thing with 39 and where 39 was, because that's now where we want to put 42 and 38. Okay, so the next one next to that. And quite clearly 38 is smaller than 42, so we write 38, and then finally there's nothing else to compare it to. Okay, so we write 42 there. Right, so that's our new line. Now we did the same thing, but now with 21. We start with 21. So we compare 21 and 24. Now quite clearly we rearrange them in the first one, so there's no need to sort them out. We compare 24 and 29. Well, there's no need to swap them out. However, we don't write 29 there just yet, because we need to compare 29 to the next one. And quite clearly 23 is less than 29. Okay, so we swap 23 and 29 around. Okay, so we write 23 there, and above the next one, above the space of the next one, you might want to write 29. And where 23 was, we compare that to the next one, okay? Because that's where 29 will now be, okay? So is 29 bigger than the number next to 13? And it quite clearly is, because now we're comparing 42 and 13, okay? So we move 13 here and write 42 in the next space, okay? Now we compare, sorry, not 49, 42, I do apologise. So I was getting mixed up with my previous one, okay? So we want to write 29 in the next space, so we put a little header 29 in the next space, and we compare that to the next one, the one next to 13, okay? And well, quite clearly we're comparing 29 and 8. 8 is smaller, so we write 8 here and 29 in. And now we want to write 29 in the next column, so we compare it to 39, okay? Well, quite clearly 29 is less than 39, so you can write 29 in there. So now we're comparing 39, sorry, we're comparing 39 to 38, okay? So obviously 38 is less than 39, so we write 38 there. And then we're comparing 39 to 42, okay? So obviously they are in already correct order, so 39, 42. Now we've done that row, we compare the next row, okay? So we're comparing these and see if they're all in the right order now. Well, 21 and 24 in the right place? Well, 21 certainly is, but is 24? No, because obviously we need to compare 24 and 23. We switch them round, okay? So 21, 23, 24. However, remember that 24 you write it above the header. When I say above the header, above the spot where you want to write it, okay? Because we need to compare it to the next number, which is 13. and quite clearly 13 is less than 24. So we write 13 there, and in the next header, space above where you want to write 24, you compare that to 28. Sorry, you compare that to 8, okay, which 8 is clearly smaller than 24. Alright, so what you do there is you write 8 there, and then you would compare where 8 is to the next number, 29. Okay, so essentially comparing 24 to 29, because where 8 was, we're now want to write 24. Okay, now quite clearly 24 is less than 29, and the rest of it should stay the same, okay, because we've worked the rest of it out before, so 29, 38, 39 and 42. Okay, so we're getting closer. Now we use this line as the comparison. So we compare 21 and 23. Well, 21's in the right place, but it's 23. We need to compare 23 to 13. Well, quite clearly, 13 is less than 23. Okay, so we switch 23 and 13 round, so it reads 21, 13, 23. But remember, you write the 23 in the header, because we're now comparing 23, where 13 was with 23 to 8 to the next number. Okay, so we're comparing 23 and 8. So we write 8 here because 8 is less than 23 clearly. So you write 23 in the next header. And now we're comparing 23, the number next to where 8 was, which is 24, and quite clearly 23 is less than 24, so you can write 23 in that space. Okay, so far it reads 21, 13, 8, 23 at 24, and the rest should say the same using the same principle. Okay, so 29, 38, 39, 42. Alright, so we're getting closer. Now it's a case of doing the same principle, comparing 21 to 13. Okay, well clearly 13 is smaller than 21, so 13 goes at the start. And then we compare the 21 and 8. Well, quite clearly 8 is smaller than 21, so we write 8 in the next column. Okay. Sorry, camera kind of died without me knowing, so I kind of went on to explain the rest of that. So I'll just kind of, because I can't bother trying to go through it again. So this is how it's going to happen. Okay, so I said you rearrange the 8 with the 21. So I'll try and just point to it now. If this works, I'm sure this is going to work on here. Okay, so we compared the we moved the 8 and the 21 around. Okay, so that obviously led us with this second equation here that my fuzzy pen is trying to point to. Okay, and then trying to get it. Okay, so we switched the 8 and the 13 around. Okay, and obviously the rest from 21 onwards stayed exactly the same. So it's just a case of switching these two around. All right, and that so leaves 8, 13, 21, 23, 24, and 29, 38, and 42. Okay, so that was your end answer there, the bottom one. All right, so that is, apart from that, it's pretty much exactly what I was saying. It was just finishing it off. Okay, and what we're going to move on to now is something called the quick method. Okay, so I'm just going to, well, actually now this time I'll know that I'm switching the camera off and it's not doing it by itself because it's run out of battery. Okay, I'm just going to sort of sort this, my pen keeps coming in front of the camera, just going to sort this out, rewrite it, and over on the right hand side we're going to do the quick method. Okay, and obviously I need to rewrite it to talk you through it. Alright, actually, no, it's like I'm going to pause it, just do it. Okay, so our numbers were, because we're going to need to write this out again, 21, 24, 42, 29, 23, 13, 8, 39, 38. Okay, so what does this quick method imply? Well, this quick method implies that the structure of what we're doing is what we're going to do is pick the middle number, okay? And the middle number is 23, okay? And then basically what we're going to do is everything that's less than 23, we're going to move on to the left hand side, and everything that's bigger than 23, we're going to move on to the right hand side, okay? And then what we're going to do is do that same exact principle, except we're going to do it in the lower bounds, okay? So once we've done it over the whole of the range, okay, we're going to do it, because obviously there's no point doing it the whole range and then the whole range again. because we're going to end up with the same answer, okay? So we're going to focus it down on the lower and upper halves, okay, and half that. So basically we get to a point where we've halved everything we can, and we end up with increasing numbers, okay, just like we've got over here, okay. So it's the same kind of principle that we had. So if you want to have a go at that, just kind of outline the method to you, and you can just have a go at answering that. There's nothing more. It's the same kind of, and the reason this, as I said, is an algorithm is because there's a simple step to follow in the method, and you just keep repeating that step until you get to your answer, okay. I'm just going to pause video and let you have a go at that now. Okay, so I'm just going to go through it now. Alright, so we said we're going to move everything that is greater than 23 onto the right hand side, and everything that is less than 23 onto the left hand side. Now it's totally up to you how you go about just doing this. You can quickly do it in your head if you want to, but what I prefer to do is do little arrows to show me where I'm moving everything, because it's quite easily and quite understandable to accidentally get something wrong, okay? So what we're going to do is obviously, well, 21 stays where it is, 24 moves over to the other side, along those 42 and 29, okay? And over to the left hand side we move, obviously we move 13, okay? We move 8 and we move 8. The rest stay where they are. So how do we write this all out? Well, it's quite simple really. Obviously we don't want to change the order of them, otherwise that's going to make a little bit of a mess. And so it won't be too much of a problem, but it might be, okay? So what we're going to do is, okay, so we write it out. Now, because 21 was already there, and we're moving everything that is on the right of 21, okay, it's going to be 21, 13, 8, because that's all we're moving over to the left-hand side. And then it's going to be 23. And then everything on the left-hand side, we write before these 39 and 38, okay? So we're moving 24, 42, and 29, okay? And then we write 39, 38. And we can't use 23 as the pivot again, okay? Well, because we've already used it once. So you circle it as so. And you do the midpoint of below 23 and the mid one of above 23, okay? So the mid one below 23 is quite clearly 13. And the mid one above 23, okay, well, if you narrow it down, obviously 13, 24, and then we're left with 29 as the mid, okay? So you put everything above 13 on the right hand side, but below 23, okay? So obviously all of them go above 13, so 13, and you do 18 and 21, okay? And then it's 23, which we know is obviously the mid ones, alright? And then we move everything that's bigger than 29 to the right hand side, everything that's smaller over to the left. Okay, so in essence, all we're moving is 42 over to the right hand side, okay? 29, and then 39, 38, 42. Okay, so what we do now is we move, obviously we can't do anything with these two, we can't do anything with this one, so we're just going to do the midpoint of these, okay, the right hand side, okay? So obviously the middle one is 38, okay, so we move everything less than 38 but bigger than 29 over here, and everything above 38 over to the right, okay? So it becomes 13, 18, 21, and then we do 23, 24, 29, we circle 29 again, alright, and 38, and we move everything over to the right hand side of 38, which is 39, 42. Okay, and as you can see, because we've used the exact same numbers, we've got the exact same number as using the oh great, if I put 18. Sorry, I did mean 8 by the way, sorry. Not 18, sorry, I do apologise. You need to move that across. So it goes 8, 13, 21, which is and etc. So these two are exactly the same, even though we use different methods. You can quite easily see that the quick method is obviously a lot quicker. Alright, so that is the answer for if you were going to use. So this is the quick sort on the right hand side, and this on the left hand side is the bubble sort. Okay, so you might want to split it up. Okay, so this is the quick sort algorithm, and this is the bubble sort algorithm. Okay, and you can, as you can see, it does look a little bit more difficult than just rearranging the numbers, right? So in the exam, obviously, we've got probably a little bit harder than that, but that is just to get your basic understanding of using this algorithm. Right. Now, crazily enough, they might get confused the alphabet, so hopefully you out there know your alphabet. It's a dangerous thing to assume, but people can be a little bit on the thick side. Okay, so anyway, that's how you would answer that question. That really sums up the ending for this video. If you would like me to do some more questions such as this, then please do let me know. If you obviously any questions, obviously you could easily get the right answer, but if you want me to show you how to get the right answer using any variation, then please do let me know, okay? Because they were I was just using the same example to prove to you that obviously either method works. And obviously you can quite easily see that by looking at the answer, but still. Alright? So thanks for watching. Hopefully it's not been too dull. A bit of an introduction into D1. We're going to move now, well not now, so in the next video, on to, maybe doing in the next video, looking at binary searches, okay, and I might add some more of the next topics into the next video, binary search, but that's as far as we're going to leave it with this video. Okay, so thanks for watching, hopefully it's been of some use, and we'll see you in the next video.